India is a country encapsulated with diverse cultures and practices. One of the most uncommon practices that my team and I recently came across is Devadasi, a tradition in which a woman dedicates her body and soul to a Hindu god. Devadasi, in literal translation, means servant of God. Now, it used to be considered quite a holy ritual and an achievement for a woman back in the time. But now it's merely an act of giving up your daughters for the pleasures of other men in exchange for money. We have with us Ms. Indrani Nayar Gall from North Carolina, a critically acclaimed documentary filmmaker from India. Her recent documentary, Devadasi NOW, has been on global tour. Thank you for joining us, Indrani.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question would be, you've been working on this issue for quite a while now, and you recently produced a documentary on it called Devadasi NOW. Would you say that in the 21st century, this issue is as epidemically challenging as it was in the past?
Yes, I will say that because what has happened, it became illegal in 1988 and the law was enforced, and after that the whole thing went underground. And when something goes underground, it's hard to trace, so you don't even know exactly what the number is like today. The studies I have done shows that there are still close to 10,000 Devadasis within North India, Karnataka. The problem is that it happens because of extreme poverty. These areas are very much a drought-prone area, and there's no job opportunity. And these communities are mostly Dalit, and they are really at the bottom of everything, and they don't have any economic opportunity to rise. And not much is happening now, so that is the problem that is still there.
So was it hard for you to track down these Devadasis, the community, knowing that it's an underground and illegal network in India?
Yes, it was very, very hard. I'm actually doing this research for the past 10 years, you can say. I have found out about it in 2008. And since then, I'm trying to find out something more about it. In 2012, I finally managed to get in touch with an NGO and a legendary activist in Andhra Pradesh, but nothing in Karnataka. It still took me a good few years. So finally, I found some people who helped me to get in touch with a few activists and an NGO in a town in the district of Bellary, and that's how I kind of.
So are the authorities aware that this network exists?
I am not sure, of course, but I will think that they probably do. There was a huge studies are constantly being done, and this whole news of this practice, that the fact that it's still illegal got leaked in the media, in the international media, around 2002, 3, and BBC came, Vice came. They did some major documentaries, and as a result of that, I think a lot of foreign foundations and organizations came to help. So at that time, I think the media found out a lot about it. There was a lot in the Indian media as well. I didn't know anything about it at that time, but I think there's a Karnataka State Development Corporation. They did a lot of work with the local NGOs. The funding came from foreign countries and foundations, and I know that Infosys did some work too. Okay. In some parts of India. So I should think that it is known, but I'm not sure to what extent.
So did you at any point personally take the issue up to the local or national authorities?
I'm not based in India, and that is probably the biggest problem. I cannot take it to national. I mean, I am talking to several NGOs. I'm working with an NGO in India, and I have written actually a major article in Times of India. I'm so happy that they actually published my article. And that has kind of raised a lot of issues, kind of created some waves. So I'm hoping that it has made the government conscious also. But I shouldn't say that is me. There are a lot of excellent non-profit organizations in Bangalore and other places working tirelessly on this issue. I know of Vimochana and Dr. B.L. Patil of Vimochana. He has done tremendous work. So the work is being done. I just want to join hands. And the area I'm working in, near hospital, nothing much has happened there. I mean, I know things are happening in other places. Belgaum is free of Devadasis because there are a lot of empowerment projects happen with a lot of funding, and the Karnataka State Government Corporation, Women's Corporation did a lot of work with the other major NGOs. So things are happening, but the area I'm working in, not much has happened in those areas.
So based on your research and the work that you've done, would you say that the Indian authorities and the Indian government are taking the matter as seriously as they should?
It's a very tricky question, and I don't want to foment a problem between the two countries, Pakistan and India. They have never been good friends, as you know. What I would like to say, I don't know what is happening at that level. I know that on the outside, on the surface, we're not seeing that much happening. There are things that happen in other parts of Karnataka, things that are happening a lot in Andhra. Where the initiative is coming from, I cannot tell you, but I know there are NGOs that are finding a lot of help. But there are some foreign foundations, especially foundations that are formed of Indian ethnic group in America. They are helping a lot still. But maybe it is the NGOs are not, maybe they need more motivation, not motivation, maybe more encouragement, maybe they need more funding, I will say. That's I can tell you. I don't know what the government is doing, but maybe they're working inside, and government probably will not publish something unless they are ready for it. So I can't tell you what they are doing. I can tell you that not too much happening in North India, Karnataka right now. I have heard from a few other NGOs also. They had asked for help when I started this project. And I have been, in my little effort, I've been trying to gather funds, a little doing crowdfunding, and a lot of individuals, and the majority of them of Indian origin, has actually come forward to fund this project. We are trying to get ready to come to India and do an empowerment project.
Okay, so would you say that the tradition itself is an integral part of Hinduism, or is it more of a subculture that's been created by society?
I will say it is a subculture, but it is, of course, part of Hinduism, because you have the Hindu goddesses and gods and so on. And right now, it is poverty that drives this thing, lack of opportunity drives this thing. So there is not so much of religion. It is that these Devadasi mothers, when they get old, their bodies are old, they're not attractive to men anymore. So all their partners, so-called, that's what they call them, are the men who will give them money for sex and all that. That goes away. So when they're so desperate and there's no more opportunity, they have never given exposure that there is an alternate way of making a living. They have never given that opportunity or help to understand that. So they basically turn one of their daughters into the system, so that you will have income coming to the family. And the boys do not help. The saddest part of these communities are the men, the young men, when they grow up, they separate themselves from the mothers and sisters. So mothers and sisters, they're already ostracized, they're already stigmatized, they're outcast, and they are then again out just to fend for themselves.
So the way to go about it is to empower these people by giving them more opportunities. So Indrani, would you say that this is just a cultural problem, or is it more of a system that is merely a symptom of the deep-seated misogyny that exists in society, particularly in South Asia?
It is, I will say, both. There is a deep-seated misogyny, and that exists in many countries. It's not India alone. I cannot, especially if you have a very fundamentalist core of religion, in every religion you have that misogyny. And that needs to go. You need to be more liberal-minded. You need to bring everything up in front, make it more updated and modern. You need to realize that women are equal to men and they should have equal opportunity. Caste system, class system, all these things needs to go. Along with deep-seated misogyny, first you recognize that you're equal, and they should be getting equal opportunity, and they need to create that opportunity. So it goes both ways. There's extreme poverty in some of these areas, and a lot of these are caste-based, unfortunately. So that has to go. You need to recognize that from economic point of view, you need to create the equality and need to have respect, not to treat your wife necessarily as a trophy wife, and not to kind of patronize her in the same way, but you have to consider that person as your equal. And empathy, that's what you need to really go about with this.
So empathy in this case is crucial.
Is crucial, yeah.
Indrani, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Much of the population doesn't even know about the Devadasi practice that has plagued society since ages unknown. Even though laws have been made and many agencies have worked in this regard, its effects still continue to persist. Like Indrani has said, one of the biggest reasons for this is that religion continues to validate the tradition. However, is this just an isolated problem, or is it part of a larger societal norm of female subjugation? This is Parisey Tariq, and I'll see you again next week.